Hi, in this lesson we're going to be learning the classic Eric Clapton tune, Layla. The song starts in the key of D, but when it goes to the verse, it shifts keys. And there's basically three parts to this tune. There's the intro / chorus, which is the same thing. And there's the verse, and then there's the outro, which is mainly piano, but we're going to see if we can kind of transpose that into a guitar part. So in the intro, there's like three different guitar parts layered. So let's start with the main one. And it goes... Okay, so it starts with this little hammer-on pull-off thing. Okay, so we're going to start with the open A string and hammer down on the 3rd fret of the A string. I use my 2nd finger. You could use your 1st, I guess. But for some reason, my 2nd finger I think has a little more strength, so I use that one. So a hammer down. Then we pick the D string open. And we do a hammer on and a pull off on the 3rd fret of the D string. Okay, then we go back to the 3rd fret of the A string. And then the D string open. So that's the main riff to open the song. Then we come down here and we play a D power chord, 5th fret of the A string. And I'm going to play it with my 1st finger and my pinky because we're going to do some other stuff with our 3rd finger. So we're going to hit that and we're going to slide back to a C. So a whole step back, still a power chord. And then we're going to hit a B flat power chord, 1st fret A string. So far we have. Then we're going to lift our 1st finger and play the open A string by itself. Then I'm going to play my 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the E string and play a G. Meanwhile, I'm leaving my pinky right where it was. Up here and play a C power chord, 3rd fret of the A string. Then we're going to hit the open A string again and play the G again with our 1st finger. So. And we're back to our D. So. So that's the main riff at the beginning. Now, while that's going on, we got 2 other guitar parts. There's a octave higher of just that part, and it rings out. And that is 7th fret D string. We're going to hammer down to the 10th fret D string. You can use your 3rd finger or your pinky. Then we come here to the 7th fret G string and pull off, hammer on and pull off on the 10th fret of the G string. Then we come back here to the 10th fret of the D string and then back to the 7th fret G string. And that overlaps that. So, and it just rings out, okay? Then there's one other part. The main lead part that you're probably used to hearing. Okay, now that is based out of a D pentatonic minor, or D, you know, it uses some notes out of the minor scale too, the 12th fret here on the high E string, or Dorian, you could say, either of those. Okay, it's the same kind of riff as we just learned here but it's an octave higher. So we're going to start on the 10th fret of the B string, hammer down to the 13th fret of the B string, 10th fret high E string to 10th fret or 13th fret high E string with our hammer on and pull off. Then we go back to the 13th fret B string, back to the 10th fret E string. Then we do this bend right here on the 13th fret of the high E string. Then we release it. It's a full bend. Then back down to 13. Then we play the 12th fret high E string. Then 13th fret B string. Back to our root note on the 10th fret of the high E string. So real slow. Okay, and then that alternates between another lick, which is similar, starts out the same way. Then it goes up here to the 15th fret, into that second box of the pentatonic minor scale. We do a full bend there, and then a release. So bend on 15, and then play 15 normal. Then we go 12th fret, high E string, 13th fret, B string, back to our root note on the 10th fret of the high E string. Okay, the only other thing you need to know about the intro is on the very last one, he does a little half-step bend to get us into the verse. So the very last one, okay, that's a half-step bend on the 13th fret of the B string. So you're bending up to the 14th fret, basically. Okay, and that gets us into the verse. Okay, the verse, this is a great verse because you can practice, it's tons of bar chords, so we're going to practice all kinds of bar chords. Okay, that's the entire verse. So, we start with a C sharp minor bar chord, root on the A string here, 4th fret. And we play that for a bar. And he plays it pretty staccato, so you want to kind of choke it off. And I just lift my fingers up, not off the strings, but just release them from the pressure. Or you could also use the palm of your hand back here to mute the strings. Then we go to a flat minor bar chord with the root on the E string. That's 4th fret for 4 bars, or for 4 beats, or 1 bar. Then we go back to the C sharp minor for 2 beats. Then we go a C major bar chord with the root on the A string. So that's 3rd fret. Then to a D, 5th fret, and then an E, 7th fret. So far we got and there on the E it hangs out for a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go to an F sharp minor bar chord. So root on the E string, 2nd fret, 2 beats, to a B major bar chord with root on the A string, 2 beats there, then to an E major chord open, to an A major chord open. So that's go back to the F sharp bar chord, B, E, then it goes back to the chorus. So the whole verse one time through. C sharp minor, 1, 2, 3, 4. A flat minor, C sharp minor, C, D, E. F sharp minor, B, E, A. F sharp minor, B, E. and then we're into the chorus. Okay, and I think it just alternates between those two parts. I think there's 3 verses. Okay, so that leads us to the intro, or the outro, sorry. That leads us to the outro. Okay, this is mainly played on piano, and there's a bunch of soloing going on with Eric Clapton and Duane Allman, who played slide on this track. So basically, we're in the chorus. And at some point, it hangs out on the C. And the instruments kind of fade out, and the piano starts. So the outro is based in C, not D like the chorus. So. Okay, so it does that thing on the piano. So we're going to try to kind of figure out a way to play that on guitar. So it starts with a C sus2 chord. So that's basically, you know, a C power chord with your pinky on the root, octave root, and then you want to bar it so that you can play the B string, you know, would be the 3rd fret on the B string, but you're barring that with your first finger. So okay, so it hits that. Then we go to you're gonna bar the 5th fret of the D, G, and B strings. So basically you're playing the triad of the C major chord here. But we're gonna shift up with our first finger so we can play this little melodic run. So far. So that's the chord, 6th fret B string with your 2nd finger, to the 8th fret with your pinky. Then we're going to come here with our 3rd finger and play this kind of F chord. It's basically an F with this G on it, so it's like an F sus. See, that would be an F sus2. Okay, so just leave your fingers down when you come up this little melodic run. You put your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the D string. Then you lift your pinky. Now you're playing basically just an F chord. Then you lift your 2nd finger. So then you come here and you're going to play an F6, which is basically, we haven't really gone over that chord yet, but just put your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. Kind of looks like a dominant 7 chord, but you move it all down. Okay, so that's kind of the first part. So it's the B sus, or the C sus2, C, okay, then it repeats. It goes back to the C sus2, then here you go to a B flat sus2. And that does this little melodic run to a C major chord. That little melodic run is 3rd fret G string to the 1st fret B string, 3rd fret B string, 5th fret B string, back to the 3rd fret, back to the 1st fret, and then 1st fret G string, and into our C chord. Okay, so that goes. Okay, and then it would start repeating those 2 phrases until at one point it drops down to an A minor. So We're doing that thing. And then it does. Okay, and that is a little walk down. So we're on the C. C, B is on the A string. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, to a regular A minor chord. And then it goes a little melodic run. So we're going to do B string with the our first finger's already down from the A minor chord. 3rd fret with our pinky, B string, open, E string. Then we're going to come down here and play like we were going to play a D minor chord, but we're going to have our pinky on the 3rd fret of the high E string. Then we're going to release it. And then we're going to release our first finger. G. And then we go to G, and then there's another little melodic run. 3rd fret, open E string, 3rd fret B string, open E string, 1st fret E string. Then we come up here to a C sus4, then a regular C, then we hit this 3rd fret on the B string again. It's a lot to take in. So we go G, then we go back to an A minor, same melodic run. Then we do this kind of D minor without our first finger on the high E string. And then we pick just the B string, still holding that chord, and then the G string. Then we go to this little G walk down thing. But you might want to finger pick. And it's G. You can play basically the 3rd fret of the low E string with your first finger, and then you're going to hit the 5th fret B string with your pinky and 5th fret G string with your pinky. And you're going to have to kind of finger pick those 3 notes. Then we're going to go back. We're going to release these 2 fingers, put our 2nd finger down on the G string, still picking the low E string, G, and B strings. Then we're going to come back here and play our 3rd fret on the low E string with our 3rd finger so that we can play the 1st fret B string with our 1st finger and the 2nd fret G string with our 3rd finger. And then we're going to lift those and still play the B, G, and low E strings like that. So it's and then that leads us back into the C, and then we start the whole pattern over again. A minor to the D minor with the pinky on the 3rd fret. Our C sus4. Back to E minor. Here's where our G comes in. Okay, so it kind of goes in between those 2 parts all through the outro. So that is, it's kind of complicated. Take your time with it. There's some chord fingerings in there we haven't gone over, but it's always good to challenge yourself. So just practice that, and that's it for Layla.